Hello and welcome back to another episode. And in this one, I've got a beautiful guest speaker with me, which is Eleanor Hardley. And she's a certified sex educator, speaker, writer based at the Gold Coast, Australia. As an award-winning sex and relationship coach, she shares entertaining and practical sex education through a variety of courses, including the wildly popular Tongue Tactics, where she teaches tangible tips and tricks for going down. I'm not sure if I actually pronounced that right, but we are going to talk about how to pleasure a pussy in this episode. So listen on. Welcome to our podcast, Eleanor.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk all things pussy.
Yay! I thought this would be like you are the perfect person for that one. And I do get quite a few reaching out, asking about all of that, especially because I'm an adult content creator. But before we're going to get into all of that, I like to always ask my guest speakers a couple questions. And that is, where are you currently at on your own self-love and pleasure journey, and what brings you the most pleasure?
Oh, this is a great question. So right now, I'm in a relatively new relationship and I'm really exploring sort of opening to partnered pleasure. Beforehand, I sort of had people here and there that I was seeing, but it's this beautiful, like, container of this like committed relationship. And so it's really nice to explore that. And the thing that brings me most pleasure, I'm going to say something not sex related, but it's the sunshine.
Yes,
Sun
can
on my
relate to
skin.
that. Oh, beautiful. So tongue tactics, before we're going to get into all of that, like, first of all, what is it? And then also, how did you come up with the idea of teaching that?
Oh my gosh, I love tongue tactics so much. This is just like my most favorite creation ever. So tongue tactics is a course, a short course that is designed to really, really equip you with everything that you need to know to go down, whether it's like sucking cock or licking pussy. I've got two different versions of it available, either Pussy Pro or BJ Queen. And it's just this interactive follow along tutorial of lessons, 12 lessons that will take you through everything that you need to know to like blow your partner's mind. So I talk through all of the like energetic stuff, preparing, communication, and then I talk through really tangible tips where it's like, here's the technique. This is what you do. I demonstrate using, different toys and fruit. It's very, very casual in style. A lot of people say it's kind of like just being on FaceTime with your bestie, just giving you the lowdown. And the reason that I created this was because I'm relatively new in terms of my like bisexuality journey. It's only been a few years since I came out. And I remember when I first realized that I was bi, it almost felt like I was a teenager again. I had no idea how to date women. I didn't know how to flirt. I didn't know, anything about like going down on women. And often the assumption is like, well, we've got those parts. We should know what to do with them. And like to a certain degree, yes, but everyone's very different. And so I had this sort of moment of going and feeling like I was back in my like pre-sexual debut era. Back in my early 20s or in my teenage years, I remember Googling how to suck a dick, how to give a blowjob. And then I was doing the same thing after realizing I was bi. I was like, how to eat pussy. And I was feeling like I didn't get enough information. There was just random Google searches here and there. Porn is a really, really poor depiction. Traditional mainstream porn is a very poor depiction of, deep pleasure and connection. And so I was like, I need to figure out a way to sort of put this into practice. And so, doing my own research, my own, practice, I decided to create the course that I wish existed back when I was Googling how to.
I love that. And when you just mentioned of like, even though you have your own pussy, but it is just different, first of all, to pleasure another pussy. But then also, like you just said, everybody's different. And I've come across some women who have not even touched their own pussy. They're not even looking at their own pussy. They don't even know about how to pleasure themselves because they're just not doing it. Or they can't even imagine going down on someone else because they have got that guilt and shame with themselves, so not even letting anyone else going down there. So even though we might talk about like how to pleasure a pussy today, it's not just like interesting for men, but also for women or for anybody really, no matter your gender or sexual orientation. I think you're going to get something out of that.
Absolutely. And that's such a common thing that people experience. We aren't really encouraged, I think, growing up to really like interact with our own body, especially sexually. And so, yeah, it's no wonder. And I've had a lot of people who have taken Pussy Pro out of interest for, their own sort of relationships. And particularly people with vulvas and women who are taking it and who are queer. They want to know how to please their partner, but they end up learning a lot about themselves as well. So it's quite good. I think that it's a really handy thing to do to not only learn how to pleasure someone else, but you in turn learn more about yourself. And so that's like a nice little like twofold benefit of tongue tactics, is that you can kind of learn more and understand your own body, and then also how to ask for what you want as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So how is your tongue tactics so in regards to like pleasuring a pussy? What are like your main tips in this regards, or do you just want to like run us through like some hints in this regards?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I talk about, tips and tricks, everyone's wanting to know, okay, tell me the technique, like what exact touch will make them go wild. And it's a question that I can't really answer with a blanket statement because everyone's going to be different. I've been with women who like really, really firm sort of circular motions on their clit, and others who like really, really delicate, barely there kind of touch. And it's not fair to say there's one technique that will definitely do it, but it's more about understanding that there's so much difference between pussies. And so I always start, before I go into any actual techniques, the biggest technique, the most important technique, is communication and safety as well. So you mentioned before that for us, it's often there's often a lot of vulva shame or sexual shame that we can kind of feel. Even if we're feeling really comfortable with our partner, we might have some sort of layers of societal conditioning and things like that that have kind of told us that our pussies are something to be shamed of or shamed about. And so our partners can really do us a service by communicating and making us feel really, really safe, that like, I could do this all day. I'm so here for your pleasure. Like, I want to bring you the most pleasure ever. Like, allowing your partner to feel like there's no rush. So often we feel like, oh, I'm taking too long, and we're all in our heads. I'm taking too long. My partner's probably bored. Are they even liking it? Do I smell? Do I taste funny? Blah, blah, blah. And we've got all of these stories going on in our head. And so if our partner can kind of like turn that volume down for us by reassuring us, baby, you taste so good. I love the way you taste. Like, God, your pussy is amazing. Like, it's so beautiful. Things like this can really help. Just to
Me
make
on
us
here.
You're welcome.
Oh, so I think these are beautiful tips because it is so often so that we are rushing into penetrative sex straight away instead of like taking our time. And I've been there myself of like having someone going down on me and I'm just like, oh, I'm taking too long. Oh, and then like, what am I going to do now? Am I going to fake it? Am I like going to just say like, nah, I'm going to go somewhere else and do something else? So it's because I'm not easing into it. And the more that person can provide that safe space and also just, like open up a door, a portal of like me letting loose, the better it's going to be.
Always. It makes such a difference. I even reflected on the other day, I was with my partner and I said like, oh, I keep getting close. And I felt like I was edging, but unintentionally. And I was getting a little frustrated because I was like, I know the orgasm is right there around the corner. I'm getting close, but I'm not quite there. And he just said to me like, there's no rush, baby. I could do this all day. And I was like, okay, that's it. Floodgates open, like that really helps because we can get so in our heads. And so the more that you can make us feel safe and comfortable and open to pleasure, the better.
Yeah, communication is big, but also I've learned from myself to communicate as well. Of like, oh, I like this, or I like it that way.
Yes.
So now, like, I'm not faking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia back then did, um, and it's all about communication now, and really like feeding back of like, yeah, I like it this way, or I like it that way, or can we do it this way? And I think the more we can do this, the more trust is there, the more intimacy, the vulnerability. It's just a beautiful connection. So
Yeah.
beautiful start.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point as well about us communicating to our partner,
Mm.
because so often I've had clients and stuff tell me like, oh, okay, I don't think my partner really knows what they're doing, or like they're not getting me off, like they aren't providing me with an orgasm. And what I always tell my students and my clients is stop outsourcing your pleasure. When we rely on someone else to bring us to orgasm, we're really kind of doing ourselves a disservice, and like it's a lack of sovereignty. And so I want you to really feel comfortable speaking up and saying, this is what's going to get me there. And this is why self-pleasure, I think, is so important, because if you don't know what your body is capable of, if you don't know what you need to do in order to get there, then expecting someone else to just like know without any communication, it's just not fair. And so I know that it can feel really difficult to speak up, but in those moments, if you're like, I'm bored, this isn't like feeling good, or like that feels a bit uncomfortable, like don't be quiet. Speak up, say, hey baby, a little bit to the left, or a little bit firmer, or like, oh, that's a little bit too hard for me. Speak up. And then again on the other side, if you're down below, you're asking, how does that feel? Do you like that pressure? Do you like this type of touch or this type of touch? I always like to encourage you to ask leading questions, open-ended questions. So rather than like, does that feel good? Yes. No. You don't want to say no, it doesn't feel good necessarily.
True.
So yeah, so ask them a little bit more detail, like, do you like this pressure? And then do some kind of pressure, and then, or do you like this one? Do it a little bit firmer. Choose column A, choose column B. Okay, now I know, and I have something like tangible to go off.
That is a great tip, because you're more likely to say, no, I actually prefer number one or number two, instead
Yeah,
of like, no, because you don't actually want to say that. Right.
exactly. Yeah, like it feels too harsh, and if you just say no, you're just shutting it down, but you're not offering any solutions. So
Love that.
option A, option B.
B. Or we open door number 3.
Exactly.
So once we've created this beautiful safe space of like we can ease into it, we're obviously not going straight to the clit.
No. No, we are not. So before we even get to the vulva, though, I think it's really important to recognize that we do need a lot of time and arousal to kind of get ready before any type of penetration or even just touch of the pussy itself. And so I think sometimes we have this kind of common script, especially if we've already had sex with this particular person, that like, okay, we're making out, and then maybe we'll do that for a few minutes, and then it's like hand on or head down, let's go straight to the goods. And I know for people with penises, it can feel like amazing to be like, yeah, cock first, let's go. Typically arousal starts from, the center first, right? For us, we take a little bit longer. And I think that like a really big thing that I'd love to drive home about our anatomy is that we're not more complicated or more difficult to orgasm. It's just that we're more nuanced. And so we all have the same parts, just arranged differently in terms of our genitals. And we have erectile tissue as well in the pussy. So before we even kind of go to tips, and I'm definitely going to get there, but I think it's really important that we start, by taking our time. I always talk about this theory of working from the outside in. So a cock, typically hard first, and then the rest of the body might get a little bit more sensitive throughout the session. But for us, it's the pussy that is like the final piece of the puzzle that kind of comes online. So if we think about a cock getting hard, it's typically from like that desire and that arousal and that moment of like, oh, I'm turned on, I'm horny, I'm ready to go. Seconds to minutes, really. Unless there are, ED or PD sort of things going on, which is incredibly common, it typically isn't a very long amount of time before that blood flow has reached the cock and it's hard and like standing up ready for action. For us, we also have erectile tissue, and it's integral that we have that blood flow to our pussy. It just tends to take 20 to 40 minutes.
Welcome, pleasure being. I am so lit up meeting you here. I am Patricia. I grew up as the good girl, high achieving, performing, functioning, unable to receive. And after surviving my DV marriage, I spent years rebuilding the safety within my body and alchemizing that disconnection into pleasure, to feel deliciously turned on by myself, in my life, business, motherhood, and relationships. I am the founder of Pleasure Lit, your pleasure lit from within. I am the best-selling author of The Pleasure Lit Way and an award-winning pleasure explorer and educator. I have explored over 400 pleasure toys, countless pleasure practices, and studied over 20 certifications. If this sparked something inside of you, go to pleasurelit.com.
Yes, you can go like straight for the pussy, but it's just not going to be as pleasurable. And so I liken this to trying to have penetrative sex, trying to fuck with a soft cock. It might feel okay, like, you've still got some friction and some sensation, but it's not going to feel as good as when you're rock hard, right? So give us some time. We have the same erectile tissue, it's just arranged around our clitoris instead.
I had something similar, and I explained it to that partner back then. I said, look, how about you put 2 fingers inside of me now when I'm like not there yet? And then a little bit later on, when I'm more aroused, put another 2 fingers in it. Oh my God, it just feels so different. It's like so much more fluffier and hot and engorged and like wet. And I'm just like, So now you can imagine the difference if you would be inside of me like when I'm not ready compared to being inside of me when I'm ready. And it just will feel different. So
it's like, such a different sensation, and it's going to feel so much more pleasurable for us to receive any type of penetration or touch of our vulva and internally if we're ready. We need that like engorgement, like you said. We need that like puffy, that's the equivalent to like a hard on, is like that sort of engorgement, like the vulva sort of puffing out. It's filling with blood. It's creating that sensation. So give us that time to get there. And the way to do that is working from the outside in. And that's all about like stimulating the mind first, having like flirtation and conversation, things like that. This is especially integral for people who are more sapiosexual. They might be turned on more by like that connection. And then you can start to think about touch. The first level of touch would be non-erogenous zones. That could be holding hands. That could be like a hand on the knee, small of the back. Those moments where it's like, that could be entirely platonic. But when you're like flirting with someone and you're feeling really close to them and connected, a hand on the knee is like, oh, like it creates this electricity. And then you can start to work in towards the more erogenous zones. We have lots of nerve endings in our lips, on our tongue, our ears, our neck. These are all amazing places. They have the neck, right? It's delicious. So these are places that are going to start to turn us on. And again, the common assumption is like, okay, we'll make out for a bit and then I'm going to go straight for the goods. Take your time, like whole body, like wake up the whole body, the breasts, the nipples. We have nerve endings that connect. We have nerve endings in our nipples that actually connect to the same part of the brain. They wire and fire with the same part of the brain as the clitoris. And so that's why we can have nipple-gasms. Some people love it, some people hate it. Then eventually we can get towards the vulva. But again, we're still not going and like DJing the clit or anything like that. We're going to like lick and kiss the thighs and massage and tease, and we'll sort of tease and massage around the outer lips, then the inner lips, then up along, and then eventually the clit, and then eventually internally if you're having some kind of
eventually it's like, I'm going to beg for it now.
Exactly. And that's the thing, Patricia. I want you to be absolutely
Absolutely.
begging for it. You want your partner to be like, I can't handle it. I
I
need you inside
need
me
you
now.
inside of me. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Because if it's too soon, it's not going to feel as good. But you want to be like basically begging for it. Like, I need
Yeah.
you inside me. You tease me so much. You've turned me on so much that I'm like, I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
That's where we want to be.
That what you've just talked through, putting this like puffing it out a little bit is just like wow. Like starting from like really just that flirting, that intentional touch here. And I'm an energetic person and I love anticipation. And
Yes.
oh, it's just like the whole thing up to the point to the end point is sometimes even better than just like what's happening at the end. That's just like
Totally.
the bonus
Yeah.
of it all. It's just the whole journey of it. It's just like,
So good. It's just such a different experience to just kind of going straight in when you're not properly lubricated and properly engorged as well. I do want to touch on lubrication as well. We have something called arousal non-concordance, which is essentially just sometimes our brain is turned on, but our pussy isn't, and vice versa. Sometimes our pussy is like dripping wet, but we don't want sex. And so sometimes we have this assumption that wet pussy means ready for sex and dry pussy means doesn't want it. Not necessarily. So like this is where communication is key and like understanding your own body. And if you're like, I actually am feeling ready to receive, use lube. Lube is going to be the best thing ever. There's absolutely no shame in using lube. It's going to make your experience like so much more heightened. It helps with friction. It's just going to make it more pleasurable all around. So I highly recommend lube. Like I've got like 7 different types of lube on my bedside at all times. You know, it's beautiful.
ready, available.
Always.
Yeah, much better when you are easing into it and you're really allowing yourself like, yeah, lube is okay, and just taking shame of like anything like off the table and just be like, it's about pleasure for both of us and let's just do what feels right to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also love your way of how you are teaching because you've just mentioned it's like a casual way, because I've recently seen again, you've done a training with your graphic with your anatomy and teaching others in person. I always love that. And you've just mentioned that it was like really casual way. Like, how is that going to be? Is that like videos? Is that text? Is that audio?
Yeah, so with tongue tactics, the way that it's delivered is through Telegram, and so it's akin to watching either FaceTime or to watching like a few reels or TikToks or something like that, because they're short videos that you can watch on your phone. You don't have to like log in and sit down with your computer for like an hour-long masterclass. Like they're all between 5 and 20 minutes long. My teaching style is very like short, sharp, tangible, and potent. I just want to get the message across to you in the most easy and accessible, practical way possible. So it's a series of 12 videos that you can watch on your phone, and you get access to that as soon as you sign up. And then you can watch it all. You could watch it all in an afternoon and then give your mind-blowing oral sex in the evening. And then send me a little testimonial afterwards and tell me all about it, because I love
Eleanor
story time.
loves reading them. Me too. I'm always just like, yeah, there we go. She's helped another one.
Oh, it's so fun. My favorite.
Makes your day, doesn't it?
It does.
In regards to some tips and tricks, tongue and finger related.
Yes.
Because as I said, I'm also doing adult content creation. And I play with pleasure toys on there. So currently just solo for the last couple of years. And because I focus a lot on like my pleasure in this regards, I do a lot of clitoris stimulation there as well. And sometimes I do get like the DM of a guy. It's like, I never knew like you could do this with a clit, or you could like use this toy on you, or like you're always doing something like to come. It's not just penetration. I said, yes, because we need more than just that. Well, most of us do.
Totally.
And it's kind of like a way to teach. But yeah, what are some of the tips that you can recommend? Because they might just know, okay, I'm going right, left, up, down.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's it. You know what's really interesting is that less than 2% of people masturbate exclusively by putting something inside, penetration only.
There you go.
Majority of people, 70 to 90%, require clitoral stimulation to come. And so that is such a beautiful thing to kind of reflect and for people to understand and go, oh, wow, I had no idea, because the assumption from society and media and porn, like mainstream porn, is like jackhammer in and out, and that's what's going to get there because it gets them there, right? And so when we're going down on someone, there's so many different techniques that we can use and we can explore. I always like to say, starting off with a flat, broad tongue and those long licks up kind of starts the process. It creates this kind of sense of presence. If you go straight in with a pointy tongue and like straight onto the clit, it can be a little bit too sensitive. You're like, ow, no. Ow. So we want to sort of start with that flat, broad tongue, that sort of style. And that's going to really kind of bring the sense of presence and lubrication as well. And then you can start to get a little bit more intricate with it. I like that flat, broad tongue from the base, so from your vaginal opening all the way up to the clit. So you're kind of just teasing it a little bit. You're kind of going over and over and over, and then you can start with the more pointy tongue, which will be more targeted. So that's where you can sort of start to go up and then around, or left and right, side to side, little circles. I often like to suggest that people like make out with the vulva, with the pussy, you know, like rather than thinking I have to just like just get my tongue and just like, you know, go up and down, round and round, side to side, whatever, and be really targeted. Instead, think about like making out with it, like making out and sucking, licking like you would like with a tongue. That can feel really nice. A lot of people love like the suction.
I think as a receiver, like if I feel like someone is down there and just like really like making out with my pussy, I would rather be like, wow, this person is enjoying it, and ease into it and be like, all right, I'm ready to receive, make out with her. Like it's just gonna be like that extra sensation, all the nerve endings, instead of just like, I'm trying to do a job here. So
yeah, it feels really different to receive. I think if it's too pinpointed, it can feel a little bit tedious.
Yeah.
But then again, some people love it, you know, and they're like as light as possible, and that's what's going to get them there. So it really is just checking in with your partner and like, do you like this? Do you like this? Or do you like this? Fingers.
Fingers, yes.
I can't forget about fingers. I have very strong thoughts on fingers. Which ones do you like to use? Which are your favorites? So yeah, we love the hook, the sort of come hither motion. And a lot of people kind of think,
great for squirting.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to kind of bring about that sensation throughout the G spot or the G zone. There's different techniques when it comes to
sometimes I use sequins.
Yeah, okay, amazing. So Spider-Man hands or bowling ball fingers. Spider-Man.
All right, everybody, the Spider-Man hand.
Or like a rock or like bowling ball fingers.
To like more, also grip and like hook more in. Yeah,
exactly. So okay, I've got different thoughts on the different style of fingers. So peace fingers, pointer and middle, that tends to be people's go-to. And again, with any finger, you can do either the come hither, which is like really soft and it's kind of like, yep, come over here, or you can hook it a little bit more and use more of a like sort of shoulder elbow kind of pull. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you could tap as well. Circles around a little bit harder when you're inside, but still doable. Now, those ones can be great. The reason that I'm so passionate about Spider-Man hands, bowling ball fingers, rock hands, whatever, it's your middle and your ring. The reason that I love this, and I'm going to get a little demo if you have video, but otherwise I'm going to explain it. So this is Vivian the vulva. This is my little demo vulva. And the reason that I love the Spider-Man hands is because the two fingers, ring and middle, will go inside, and then you have your pinky and your pointer, which act as a frame. And if we are more familiar with vulvar anatomy, we know that underneath the labia, the inner and outer labia, we have the inner workings of the clitoris. The clitoris is not just the tip that we see on the outside, but it actually goes and extends internally a lot. And so if we're doing those fingers, essentially what we're doing is massaging from the outside. We're massaging that part of our clitoris through the labia. And so I like that it creates this nice little frame. If you're, doing this on yourself, you have your thumb available as well. If you're doing it on someone, you can be licking their clit at the same time as having that frame and fingers inside. I think it offers a little bit more versatility. But again, the pointer fingers, the peace fingers, pointer and middle, those ones are not going to fatigue as much because they're stronger, right? So it really depends what you're doing, what your flavor is, but I'm a big fan of these ones.
It's also, you can also use a palm while you've got that, and then
absolutely
use that in there. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like hooked in, and then I'm just doing this, and it's just like rubbing that palm against the clit while I'm having the hook in. I'm like,
palm on clit,
I've got myself, yeah.
It's so nice. Like that heel of the hand is so good. And even something that I talk about in tongue tactics is when you start or when you end, it can be really nice to like place the whole hand over and like cup the vulva. Oh my God. There's something about that just brings me, like, all of my attention just goes straight back into my body. And I'm like, oh,
I've learned that through Tantra, and especially like what you said about opening up like nipplegasm and breast, because that's like our heart center. It's our space that opens us up, that breaks us open to receive more. And since I've learned that and give a little bit more attention here, it just really helps. And the same with cupping your vulva or just like talking about it like to her and connecting with her on a deeper level. It just makes that slightly difference.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love that.
Where can find people the tongue tactics to learn more about it all? And I mean, everybody listening, so we've talked about pleasuring a pussy. Now imagine Eleanor teaching you also how to suck cock as a blowjob queen. So she's got both available.
I do, yeah. So you can find tongue tactics on my website, which is eleanorhadley.com. You can find BJ Queen, Pussy Pro, or I have a bundle available, and that's for people who are in couples, heterosexual couples, or people who are queer and want to know, or if they're bi and they want to know both, or even just learn their own. So feel free to get either one or the bundle. I've also got a code for you, so that'll be Toy Queen, capitals, no space, and that'll be 20% off for you as well. And I'll give you the link as well. You can pop that in the show notes.
Yeah, so I'm going to pop that down
click
below.
It and go. Amazing.
Now, before we're going to end this episode, I've got a few questions that I like to ask my guest speakers. First one is, do you have a favorite pleasure toy?
I do. Okay, my favorite pleasure toy, it's by Frenchie. I used to be their pleasure expert, and this is not biased because it's regardless of having worked with them in the past, it is my favorite. It's called the Double Entendre. Do you have this one?
No, I don't.
Oh, it is my favorite. It's so versatile. So it's kind of like a
review that one.
It's beautiful. It's like this long wand, but it's silicone and it's super, super flexible and bendy. So you can bend it in half so that you have the internal and the external. You can have it straight and you can kind of use it like a dildo or to sort of massage your cervix. You can use it anally if you curve it as well. You can even like curve it around like a cock, kind of like a cock ring or like a stroker. It's so versatile and I fucking love it. It's my go-to.
It sounds good. Might need to review that one. Add it to my wish list.
You will, yeah.
Do you have any favorite lingerie or any clothing that makes you feel extra delicious?
So, yeah, I'm not a big lingerie girl. I used to be, but these days I don't wear bras, and it's just not my most favorite thing. But my go-to when I have to wear bras is Nala. They're a really beautiful, inclusive brand, like really interesting styles and designs, and yeah, they're gorgeous.
So I've got two more questions. Do you have any book recommendations for our audience?
Oh, I do. Okay, there's this amazing book called Sexual Practices of Kadoshka. And what I love about this is that it's comes from Native American sort of philosophy around pleasure and sexuality. And it teaches all about orgasms and energetics. And it's got these chapters that are dedicated to our anatomy. And it has these like images of different styles of vulvar anatomy and penis anatomy. And so it shows like the different sizes, like the different shapes of your clit and the different length of labia. And it categorizes them into different types. And then it says and explains to you the frequency at which you might come, the like type of ejaculate that you might produce, the depth of your vaginal canal, things like this. And it's so fascinating. Like, it's not a perfect science, but I remember when I looked through and I was like, oh, that one's me. And then I read the description and I was like, that is exactly the way, like, yes, that is how long it tends to take me to come. And yes, that is something that I resonate with. It's so cool.
Interesting. I love that. I love guest speakings because every time I'm like, another new book and
That's
another one. Some have like 2 or 3, and like some I knew already. But recently I had like Kem Fraser's like the penis book and the pegging book, and I'm just like, never heard about that one. And then I'm just like, okay, new book, ordered.
Long to be read pile.
Before we're gonna end this episode, one last question, and I'm gonna leave the audience with that. What is your number 1 tip for self-love and pleasure?
My number 1 tip for self-love and pleasure is to prioritize your pleasure. And that can be simple, sensual, or sexual, but it's like leading a pleasure-filled life and searching for pleasure. Not necessarily just validation, but ways to be in your body and to feel good. And so I mentioned at the top of the show, sunshine for me, like laying in the sun on my balcony naked in the morning is my favorite thing ever. And that makes me feel so good and juiced up for the day. And finding ways, just small little ways throughout your day to feel pleasure is going to enhance everything.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
When you've liked this episode, make sure to follow and subscribe to the channel and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure into this world. Feel free to tag me so I can reshare the love. You can access my free workshop at pleasurelit.com/links. Sending you lots of love and pleasure. Mwah.